It's time for the Luke Howard Show Live! Thank you very much, thank you. There's lots of different ways that I can say that. There's lots of many different ways that I could say it's time for the Luke Howard Show, and that's one of them. It's all different every single day, and I hope you love it. Good morning. It's Wednesday, the 20th of May, 2020. Another show, another day. Now, before we go on to talking about what we're talking about on the show today, I want to thank the wonderful Piers Bloomfield for letting me interview him on the show yesterday. Now, unfortunately, I must say this, we can't interview him today because he's got other things going on, and he was all joking anyway. Yesterday when we said we're going to interview him for the whole of the show today, so so unfortunately we're not interviewing him today. If we interview him again this week, it will be another time, but it will not be live. It shall be a special recorded show and go on Luke Howard The Interviews, which is another load of shows that I have done. So I just thought I'd let everybody out there know that there is no Piers Bloomfield today, and we are not interviewing him on the show today. Right, okay, I hope everybody's well. To get in touch with the show today, 07593 847 105 is the number to call or text. If you're texting, start with the word talk and your name, or if you're calling in us, just call us and we'll get back to you, and we'll give you a mention on the recorded shows, of course, or if it's a Tuesday, we can get straight back to you and get you live, of course. Or you can email us, GaryJHoward68@hotmail.com, or 345 457 student.hrc.ac.uk, or you can find us on Instagram. It's at the Luke Howard fan page, or you can message us on there as well. We'd love to hear from you. Or you can use the hashtags, hashtag Luke Howard, hashtag Luke Howard Show, hashtag stay at home and listen to the Luke Howard Show. So as I said on the show yesterday, today we are going to talk about the pub side of all of this, the pub side, because of course I've never heard so many people say to me, oh, I can't wait for the pubs to reopen back up so I can go in the pub and have a nice cool beer. And I'm sure a lot of people are looking forward for pubs to be opening back up, and a lot of pubs have actually opened up at this moment for takeaway beers and takeaway food, of course. There's a pub I know in my aunt and uncle's village called the Mortons that's opened up at the weekend, and they're doing takeaway food at the weekend, which is very nice food in there. It really is. So do you think that they should reopen the pubs up, but with social distancing guidelines? Should they walk in? Should there be a line there? And should they be letting people in to do it? Well, some pubs in this country have actually opened up as takeaways, and they've also opened up as community shops, which I thought was a very nice idea. So it's not just a pub, they're also opening them up for community shops where they sell food and they sell drinks, tea and coffee and groceries and fruit and veg, which I think is a very nice idea, to be honest with you, and I think that's very, very good. So do you think they should do that? 07593 847 105 is the number to get in touch with. So the UK pubs have they've thrown away, down the drain, 70 million pints of spoilt beer. Do you know, it's pathetic. All that beer chucked down the drain, to be honest with you, is not right at all. So, should they have done it? Or should they have just gone round to people's doors and offering them beer and leaving it on their doorstep? Do you think that's a good idea? Or do you think they should have just chucked it down the drain and forgotten about it at all? So, experts, what do they know? Experts say the duty on out-of-date beer unsold because of the lockdown and can be claimed back by pubs. Now, but the waste has cost millions. The figure is based on the nation's 47,000 pubs having an average 10 beer taps each. So some unreasonable has been donated and to create organic fertiliser, and brewers have been keen not to waste their product. Pubs have shared their videos poured away to highlight the problem. Now, Emma McLuchan of the British Beer and Pub Association, she said that without support, now many pubs will struggle to survive, which is true. This may lead towards pubs closing forever and ever and ever, which is going to be very, very sad, to be honest with you. But it sounds like they're going to have pubs not opening now till Christmas time, which is terrible. So a rescue pub will soon be soon on the front line of COVID dogs fighting the pandemic. Asher 5 will be part of the crack team of 6 poachers who will be taught to identify people with coronavirus by smell. So the medical dedication dogs from London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine and Durham University got a government 500,000 grant. Ash's owner. This is Ash's owner, Dr. Claire Guest, 56, runs MDD, which taught dogs to sniff out cancer, Parkinson's disease, and malaria. And she said that he absolutely loves work. I don't blame him, to be honest with you. But the last time pubs shut, a couple of days before that, pubs were empty. There was no one hardly in there. People were just standing around doing absolutely nothing. Now that was what it was for the last few days before they all shut. So but a pub says it has found a safe way to reopen, and the Sun paper was there to sample its first pint. So tables 2 metres away. It's the same as the schools, the pubs as well. Are they going to have tables 2 metres away? Nobody knows how they are going to do it. No one knows. No one knows how they're going to do it. No one does. But they've been separating tables from 2 metres apart. But it's still the same if you go in there with family and friends anyway. But it's scattered throughout the Betsy Wine boozers browse disposable menus they enter and leave via a carefully monitored one-way system. It's the same with the supermarkets. They're all one-way system as well right now. But while a large beer garden allows the social distancing, the scheme has the backing of a government advisor, and the brewer bosses say that the measures can be up and running within 3 weeks of getting the go-ahead. So Peter Borge-Neal, CEO of Oakman Swanbourne in Buckinghamshire, he said that we can run, which is literally one of the next counties from here, actually, we can run a pub safely with all confidence of social distancing met. The country is desperate for a pub, obviously, and a proper pint in the pub, and we are asking the government to treat the light grown-ups as like to let us open. We are strongly believed in this idea, and we are presenting it to the Cabinet Office via our trade body, UK Hospitality, and we want it to be given careful consideration. Numbers would be limited to around 250, but the Betsy Wine has a large indoor space and massive beer garden. Ministers had been warned that the 40% of pubs and 320,000 staff face the axe unless the government steps in to save the industry. Mr. Borge-Neal added that we need to get the economy going again. If not, pubs will close to thousands that will lose their jobs. If you can operate safely, though, and show that you can then use that, there is no reason why pubs shouldn't be allowed to do so. He said, I can get on a tube train with a load of strangers, which is true, but I can't go in a pub and have a pint. Well, I do blame you, to be honest with you. With a mate, of course, where is the logic? It's true. I mean, if you can get on a tube train or a bus or a double-decker bus or something, London one, full of people, then surely you must be able to go in a pub packed to people anyway. I mean, I do believe that. I think that's interesting. We'll have to look into this one. So, it also has a large indoor space and a massive beer garden. Ministers have been warned that the 40% of pubs and 320,000 staff face the axe unless the government steps is in safe of the industry. Mr. Borge-Neal added that we need to get the economy going again. If not, pubs will close and thousands will lose their jobs, which is true. It can easily happen. A lot of pubs in this country have already closed down anyway. So if you can operate safely and show that you can then, that there is no reason why pubs shouldn't be allowed to do so, You can get of course you can get a tube train, and they're also saying on sunny weekends the pub is not the same without sunny weekends aren't the same without pubs, and it has a garden and a landlord, and it's all preferred to accept responsibility for not overcrowding it. And we all see no particular reason why it should not reopen. Mr. Borgnell added that when we closed in March, I had to return 20 barrels from the Betsy to the brewery. There's almost 2,000 pints in that barrel that you can brew, but we'd need for 3 weeks notice to get in deliveries. So even if we got the all clear on Monday, this coming Monday, we wouldn't open until the next month. The government needs to crack on and get pubs open as quickly as they can. Of course they should, and just do takeaway beers. Everyone is desperate for a pint, and what is more traditionally British than a drink in your local pub, which is true. It's all British. So it was a G day in Australia though the other day, and there was some pubs that already opened after 2 months lockdown. Drinkers in Darwin were downing their beers, but the bars in some other regions remain shut. So if they could open it in Australia, then surely they could open them up here as well. So yeah, so there you go. So they've opened them back up in Australia, so why don't they open them back up here as well? It just gets worse by the minute. But Boris, just tell people that we can open pubs up again, please, please, because everyone loves their pubs. They all like their drink, they all like the food from there. We all do. My mother likes it as well. We all do. Come on, Boris, please, let pubs reopen back up now. But it's up to him, really. If he opens them up, he opens them back up. But if they do open them back up, they have to follow the guidelines, and so they have to follow guidelines. Let's talk about sports now, because a football star invited a group of models for drinks at a restaurant in Paris. Then, allegedly bedded at least one in a sex party at a nearby flat. So witnesses said that the Premier League player and friends were in a group of around 15 people who gathered at a swanky restaurant near the Champs-Élysées. This is in Paris, by the way. Staff were on hand and were serving the party in a clear breach of France's strict lockdown rules. Then it actually continued at a hired apartment the other day nearby. It was suggested that a drug dealer visited the flat. The player, who was a year singing for his club, was seen cavorting in a lift with one of the girls. The multi-millionaire footballer was also said to have had a sex with at least one of them. Do we have to talk about this? It's got to be in the Sun newspaper. This. It was suggested that we said that the player, who was a star, we said that. He had sent taxis to pick up the woman and bring them to the restaurant. A source said that they were whisked to a restaurant which he had hired privately, complete with waiters strictly against French government lockdown rules, and there were about 15 guests. Gosh, it gets worse. They were served technically and Jack Daniels, and it was all very rancorous. Most of the group then went to hired an apartment where the party continued, and things got out of control. The international footballer broke UK lockdown rules when he flew out to France by private jet last weekend. He is now back training with his club in England, preparing for the Premier League's return with the government, and the signal could happen next month. The claims will display the stars. You see, it's not just pubs, is it? It's also sports as well. Did you really believe sports? They want to get them back as well, which I don't think will happen at this moment. The claims will dismay that the Stars Club, who have battled to help fans cope with difficulties from self-isolating during the coronavirus pandemic. Last night, though, the restaurant in Paris was officially closed the other night in line with lockdown rules. There was no indication of the gathering that had been taking place. A sign on its front door was advising takeaway deliveries. The flat where the pretty took place is a short walk from the well-heeled venue, just off the Champs-Élysées and tourist hotspots in the Arc de Triomphe. There is a fast food restaurant, though, on the ground floor, as well as 6 other businesses based in the building, plus 3 rental flats on the top floor. The player could now face an investigation in France for flouting the rules. He is the latest in a long list of Premier League stars who have broken lockdown rules. They also include Manchester City defender Kyle Walker and Aston Villa midfielder Jack Grealish. Others on the list of shame include Arsenal's Nicolas Pepe, who was also filmed playing football with friends. His teammates Granit Xhaka and David Levert met at the North London Park, while striker Alexander Leslie was snapped taking a car ventilator. Everton striker Ahmed Niazi was labelled a disgrace after he was caught driving with pals in late March. The mystery Premier star isn't the only footballer to break the lockdown rules. Man City's Kyle Walker did so 3 times in 24 hours. He left Cheshire to visit the sister and parents in Sheffield before cycling near Second Pad as he is renting last month. Walker hosted a party with 2 cool girls. Aston Villa's Jack Grealish crashed a car following a 4 a.m. party. And why would you do a party at 4 o'clock in the morning after he'd urged fans to stay indoors? Spurs boss Jose Mourinho was seen training with midfielder turning to be nobody in London Park. So